asphalt, yeah,
Asphalt.
excluding the shoulder.
Excluding the shoulder.
So I don't know how you're gonna do that.
We'll work on it. I'll send you copies definitely.
Okay. Yeah, I just, if I submit it, somebody dies or something, that's my mistake.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the Madison County Commissioners meeting to order. Everyone, please rise.
Let us pray. Father, we come to you today with open hearts and open minds. We ask for your blessing on this gathering. Lord, we're thankful for all that you do for us and for our community. We're thankful for those who are here today to participate in this meeting and in the process. We ask for you to watch over us, protect us, and give us guidance to do your will. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First this morning, we have approval of the minutes from August the 5th. And second, any other discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. And we have approval of the claims. Motion to approve claims. And second, any other discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Under old business, we have a new Madison County noise ordinance. And today is advertised, we'll have a public hearing for the noise ordinance. We're going to introduce that at the last meeting. To the best of my knowledge, there's only been one suggested change in the last week, Jeff, and that had to do with the legal use of firearms.
Legal use of firearms is not specifically called out as an exemption in the ordinance, so that would be a fairly easy, either a pencil addition here today, amendment here today, or it can be added later. If you're considering passing it today on first reading, it would need to be added.
So during the public hearing process, keep in mind that that might be an addition. If you have any comments about adding the legal use of firearms to the noise ordinance, please make the appropriate comments. So at this time, we'd suspend the regular county commission meeting and open up the public hearing on Madison County noise ordinance proposal. If anyone has any questions or comments, please come out. Good morning.
Good morning. David Sargent, Anderson, Indiana. I believe the firearms preemption does need to be added to the noise ordinance to prevent legal ranges from the ordinance being used to shut down legal ranges, and also people who have the right to practice with firearms on their own property if it's done properly.
Any other comments? Jeff, I'm gonna assume that would, if added, would just go right into section 3 of 114.
Yes. The legal use of firearms would be a very general way to say that as long as you aren't breaking another law when you're shooting guns. Sort of exempt from this ordinance?
If there's no more questions or comments, we can entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Yes. Or ask a question. I'm Don Zalakar from 5012 West 8th Street Road. Is this ordinance, is that what we're talking about, is the ordinance?
Yes,
Okay.
it's not passed yet, so this has just been introduced and talking about what would be most appropriate.
Preventing people from shooting up in the air or shooting at a target? Because if I have a legal license to shoot a gun, I understand not shooting it up in the air because it can come down and kill somebody. But does it prevent me from shooting at a target?
No, I think the exemption, as we put it in there, is that whatever you can come up with in a way of shooting a gun that's legal
Yeah.
would not be a violation of this ordinance.
What would be a violation?
Well, what you just said, if a guy, shoot it up in the air over and over and over, now, I'm sure that's probably a violation of the criminal code as well. But it would also be a violation of this ordinance from a noise standpoint, if you're driving somebody crazy, shooting a gun
Is
illegally.
this strictly in Anderson city limits or is this in the county?
Just the opposite, it's the unincorporated part of the county. It would be none of the towns or cities would have applied. This board only has jurisdiction in areas that are not cities or towns.
And it's not specific, just a gun, it's not, there's a whole, if you'd like a copy of it. Yeah.
That would be fine.
It looked at it, so it's,
Appreciate it. Thank you.
we have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. Those in favor say aye. Aye, motion carries. We can now entertain a motion. There would be, I would suggest, we've had a lot of discussion on this in the past, so I would suggest just passing the first reading today and then leaving the second for the first meeting in September. And if there's any additional comments out there, those who come in, who want to make any changes to our best bank so we could entertain a motion on the first reading here.
I make a motion that we entertain ordinance number 2025 BC 01 by title, only an ordinance to regulate excessive noise in Madison County, Indiana.
Commissioner Gardner, does that include the pencil amendment that we have discussed?
I'll also say that would include in section 3 with the change to include the legal use of firearms would not be a violation of the ordinance.
I'll second that motion. Any other discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. And at this time, we could suspend the rules and pass on the second reading if we wanted, or we could wait till the next meeting. I'm good with waiting.
That's fine.
So the noise ordinance will be on for the final reading on September 2nd. Under new business, Jeff has a tax petition from Somerville.
Yes, and that is is there anyone from Summitville here today to present on this property? This is property that is owned by, actually owned by the town of Summitville. This is not one of those, this is not one where they're asking for a tax certificate. They're simply asking for the taxes to be removed pursuant to state law. Frankly, as I read the ordinance, which was amended about 8 or 9 years ago, I think this board is largely a ministerial task. Once a municipality acquires that, the goal of the state legislature, as I understand it, would be to make it more marketable, and back taxes are a major problem for places like Summitville to pass along property. And the procedure is to come first through this body and then to our auditor, assessor, treasurer for the calculations to actually remove it. So this was filed timely by the town. It's fairly cut and dry.
Any questions for Jeff?
Just that they, I don't know that it matters, but they have the auditor's name listed incorrectly on the copy I have anyway. I was the previous auditor in Madison County, Tom Call was the current auditor. It's on the document, so that should reflect the change.
If there's no other questions, I would make a motion to accept Summitville's petition to have property taxes canceled, assuming any prior taxes that have been accrued to be waived. There are 5 parcels, so it is all of them on the good side.
Second the motion.
Do you have a second? Any other discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Jeff, we're gonna go to settlement with Purdue.
Yes, this is the latest, this is not the Purdue University. The latest settlement with Purdue Pharmaceutical Company and the opioids. This is very similar to the one we talked about at our last meeting with regard to, there's been any settlement reached. Our counsel, Cohen and Malad, has recommended that we enter into this agreement and accept the settlement amount to the county. We listed it in that release. I'll pull it up real quick.
See it on the first one, that's the reference.
Get back to that one like you did last time, John.
Yeah, that's fine, we'll get it in there for the record. I make a motion that we accept the settlement agreement with Purdue Pharma, and we'll get on the record that amount. Here's where we reject this one. Any other discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Dispatch?
Morning, Commissioner James Cleveland, Madison County Radio Administrator. I have some documents for you. So, before you, what you're seeing is a diagram of one of the small pieces of our radio system today. We currently have a connection to the core in Indianapolis from 2 locations in Madison County. Those are fiber connections, and back when those were created, we were not able to get the diversity that we would like to have in that. So what I mean by that is on the very bottom of your description, you see that very bottom line says Standard Sienna. There's just one connection into where the core is currently located, and both of those terminations, or both of those fiber connections terminate on one device in that building. So as you can imagine, anytime that device is needed to be rebooted or anything else, we have a small outage that causes us to have to implement our backup plan at dispatch. It's not a very inconvenient thing for anybody. The end users on the street never even know it happens. It just affects the dispatchers. But earlier this year, we were able to secure some rights so that we can get a diverse access into that building. What I mean by that is instead of having just one common connection point that anybody with a trencher can trench up at any time, we would now have 2 separate entry points into the location. Those attaching to 2 separate devices that would be set up in a way that they both would not be rebooted at the same time. We'd reboot one, just like best practices would entail, and then when that one comes back up, you'd reboot the other one, and the opposite one would take care of the load. So we would see a significant decrease in the these small outages with that. To that, there is a small expense. It's quite honestly $500 a month. What you have, what was presented before you today was an addendum to the existing agreement. It was submitted to legal. I guess I should probably ask if it did pass over your
Yes, sir.
considerations. Thank you. And that's what I'm asking the commissioners to consider is the approval of this addendum.
So Jim, when we're looking at these small outages that we had, what's causing them?
The last two have been required reboots of the equipment at AT&T. There are always firmware updates that need to be done on systems to keep them current. There are always other things. To my knowledge, there have not been any fiber cuts along this system that have caused that, but that's always a possibility. Anytime there's construction down near that area.
So, once again, when that happens, you know, you're updating, you're just gonna switch over to the other.
When that happens, our exact procedure, sir, is, like I said, the end users on the street never even know anything happens. In the dispatch center, on their consoles, all the little boxes that are there show a big red X and it makes a really loud noise in their ear and it scares the heck out of them. They know at that point, all they have to do is take their mouse, go up and click on a tab at the top that says backup, and another set of boxes appear with their talk groups, and they click in their talk group and they're back talking to people. So it really is a matter of seconds for them, but then at that point, until this piece of equipment reboots and comes back up and the connections are stored, you know, we are on a secondary backup, but we're not on our primary means of operation. So if for any time during that our secondary means were to go down, then we would be on our tertiary means. That would be them going back to the back room, grabbing portables and talking to the officers that way. This wasn't done in the beginning because, quite frankly, this capability wasn't available 10 years ago when we started this. We finally got enough to groom the system to where we can get this capability added.
Any other questions for Jim?
Approve the approval of AT&T.
Second, any other discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you, everyone.
Anderson Housing? No.
Morning, I was going to introduce who's going to talk to us today and why they're here. As part of our I guess it's subrecipient agreements with Anderson Housing Authority and with the Chamber of Commerce for the ARPA funds. We asked them to report out on the progress they made on the project and the impact. And so Kim and her team is here today to give us an update on their project.
Good morning. So, yeah, just want to recap. We received $200,000 from the county. We're very grateful, and I think you'll be pleased at how we've used the money. It was to assist county residents with rent, utility assistance, and we've got some figures for you. But this was so important. A lot happened during COVID, and we still have people that are behind. We had Anderson residents calling us when they saw that we received this money, but we had to turn them away because Anderson did receive their own funds. So I appreciate everything Jessica did to help us, and appreciate all of you for funding this. We've got some numbers, and the way we did this, and this is very important, we contacted the township trustee offices. We also worked with St. Vincent de Paul and the Elwood Housing Authority. So because we needed to have a referral process to make it fair and make it transparent. And we thought this would be a great boost for some of the trustees because you know, they may not get enough in their regular budgets to handle an influx of rent and utility assistance. I'm sad to say not all took advantage of this, but we did have several of the townships that worked with us and worked well with us. So Wendy is our housing counselor, and she was also the one that put all this project together, and she's going to tell you how many families we had, even single fathers, single mom headed households, and she'll let you know how much we spent on each item that we were going to cover.
Good morning, everybody. Okay, so this reporting is from the period of March the 1st to July 31st, okay? So during that time, we were able to serve a total of 112 families. 38 men, leading households, approached us for help, and 74 women, leading households, approached us. We were able to help 45 of these applicants with rental assistance only. Utility assistance only, we had 67 individuals. And out of those two, we had 10 of them that asked for the utility and rent as well. During this time, we paid out $58,927.08 in rental assistance. We paid out $58,037.04 in utility assistance. Okay, so as Kim said, we sent information to all the townships. The townships that responded and participated so far are Richland, Pipe Creek, Monroe, Union, Fall Creek, and Elwood Housing Authority. The other townships, we received no response from them or no request for anything, additional information or anything. So right now, let me back up a little bit. We started out helping up to a total of $2,000. And I believe like in June, when we saw how quickly the money was going, we took it down to $1,000 because we felt that we could help more families that way if we take it from 2 to 1. So right now, at the end of July, we have $63,035.88 left. As of today, I took a brief look at it before I came. It's somewhere around $56,000 we have left to help. So the way things are going, maybe I would say maybe by the end of October, so that money's probably going to be gone. But we do appreciate it because we have several people that have filled out surveys and stuff for us saying how grateful they were that these funds allowed them to stay in their homes, allowed them to keep their utilities on, and just, have a place for them to lay their heads at night. It's an air conditioner, or, whatever it might be at that time. So we truly appreciate the help that we were able to help these individuals in the other townships. That's all I have.
So lastly, just to finish up, if you didn't hear some townships on that list, if you want to reach out to them and say, hey, Anderson Housing Authority still has some funds, we'd be glad to work with them. We saw this as an opportunity to prevent homelessness and to help people. There was one father that did say that because he was able to get his water and utilities back on, he did not have to sleep in his car, live on the street. So this helped a lot of families stay intact in their homes and prevented an exasperation of an already major problem in our community with homelessness. So thank you again so much, and we appreciate everything you've done to trust us with these funds. You have any questions for me? Thank you.
Again, thank you, and Wendy, thank you for stepping up and doing this, because we don't have anything in place to really do that on our own, and so for you guys to put together the proposal and do all the hard work and track it the way it needed to be, we appreciate that. So,
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Second item I have for you on the agenda is also ARPA related. There's a memo that I had provided to you. It's basically cleaning up and closing out existing projects that are completed and making the necessary adjustments to bring a few of them back to where they were originally supposed to be. Happy to run through it quickly for you. We're requesting, working with the auditor's office on this, we're requesting the official closing of the following projects and returning of any unused funds back into the project budgets for other projects. We're looking at the number one, the Sheriff's Office, the COVID-19 mitigation measures. Number two, the Sheriff's Office, COVID-19 expense reimbursement. Number four, the Prosecutor's Office for investigator vehicles. Number five, the Health Department for storage facility. Number six, Community Corrections for the redesign of their work release center. Number 10, from IT, integrated security system. Number 11, also from IT for the emergency announcement system. Number 12, for juvenile probation for their reimbursement of COVID expenses. Number 13, from the Recorder's Office for the media conversion project. Number 16, from the Engineering Department for the thoroughfare plan. Number 18, from the Engineering Department for the Waters Needs Assessment. Number 20, from the Engineering Department for the Parks Needs Assessment. Number 26, from Community Corrections for the Public Safety Communication Infrastructure Improvements. Number 27, from IT, Primary Data Storage Equipment Replacement. 32, from Anderson Housing Authority for the rental assistance, which you just heard about, and utility assistance. 34, from the Commissioner's Office for the jail. And number 38, from the Madison County Chamber of Commerce for the quality of life. So we're asking to close those projects officially and return the unspent project budget, which totals $11,278.19. That's the first part. Do you want to do these as separate motions, or do you want me to just go through it all? Okay. The second item then is project number 14, the codification project from the Commissioner's Office. When we did the final appropriation for it at the end of last year, we were unsure what the final contract amount would be with the vendor. And now that we have that verified, we're asking for an adjustment of $15,000 reduction on that one to match the contract price. For the budget to be lowered to $30,000. And then the last two items are the stormwater needs assessment for the engineering department and the operational expenses for the Parks and Recreation Department. Those two were previously reduced to adjust for other project budget situations. We're asking for returning those back to where they were previously. There is a typo on that memo that Commissioner Gardner helped me identify. The proposed proposed budget for the stormwater needs assessment should be $147,836.41, which is the correct addition of those two numbers. And then the proposed revision for the budget on the Parks and Recreation operational expenses, $75,000. And that nets a $0 change between those projects. And I'm happy to answer any questions regarding that. Vast majority of this is really just cleaning up the paperwork and making it align with where we're at and what we're doing. This motion that I'm requesting would also be to amend the interagency agreements with those individual departments and projects to make the adjustments as well.
Close out completed projects as requested, 1 through 38, and accept the project budget modifications. Second, any other discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you. And then I have a few other contracts for your consideration for ratification. These are all contracts that have been approved by different boards. We are bringing them back to you for your review and ratification. First, we have two from the Parks and Recreation Board. One is for the White River Greenway DOT agreement, the Philadelphia Transfer Agreement. And the second is for the White River Greenway Task Order 2 with Burgess and Kneippel. The two agreements go hand in hand. As you know, the Parks Department has decided to move forward with development of 2 anchor parks along the White River Greenway corridor. And these agreements are for that. The BOT agreement is with Avenue, the developer on the project, for a guaranteed maximum price of $3.6 million. And then the Burgess and Nyepel task order is for the design work associated with that. And should have found the number beforehand. My apologies. The amount on that one is for yes, thank you. $270,000. You're faster than me. Happy to answer any questions on those 2 agreements.
Just to clarify, this bond agreement is exclusive to the 2 parks, correct? Like, it's not gonna
Correct.
be used for a trail in the future, that would be a whole other.
That would be amending, if there were to be a separate, if there were to be additional funds available that would be attributed to a potential project, then it would require an amendment or modification to the BOT agreement that would have to go through them and then through you as well. In the BOT agreement, one of the exhibits outlines exhibit letter F, executive summary, that outlines what the base agreement is for the western park, and then the base agreement for the eastern park, and then potential and then additional amenities for consideration depending on availability of funding through as the BOT develops. So that's about 2/3 of the way, maybe 3/4 of the way through the document. I'm happy to walk through that if you are interested in knowing what it is.
What pages?
The page isn't numbered, but it's exhibit F.
31.
Should really require my consultants to number all pages. The base for the western park includes improving the surface of the parking area and widening the drive, improving the parking lot area itself, and expanding the parking lot area itself, adding a separate path along the entry drive. That's on-site, that's not off-site. And then adding concrete pads for portable restroom facilities and for a trash dumpster, restoring all disturbed areas, tree mitigation is required, and stormwater management infrastructure is required. That's the base for the western part. For the proposed eastern part, the base agreement includes plating the park, dedicating right-of-way, splitting the parcel as needed, entry drive, parking area, separate entry drive, separate pedestrian path along the entry drive, kayak or non-motorized boat launch ramp, concrete pad for mobile restroom facilities, concrete pad for dumpsters, entrance signage, fencing along the perimeter of the lot, landscape buffering along the perimeter of the lot, and then restoring the disturbed areas for water management and tree mitigation as needed. And then that's the base included within both of those phases of the project. And then as the project progresses, we'll know better what will be available for the within the BOT agreement. You have the flexibility to use the additional funds for the amenities, almost like a menu option. And the additional amenities for consideration are also listed in there. Expanded parking areas, additional signage, natural play areas, approved picnic areas, shelters, those type of facilities.
I just want to know about concerning conditions, so I want to clarify.
Sure.
This agreement will not be.
This agreement does not include trails off of the sites of the 2 parks.
DOT agreement that is presented for the two access points. That's just second. Any other discussion?
Yeah.
Question.
Where exactly is the east side?
We can't speak to that at this time
Okay.
because it's a confidential discussion.
We're asking us to spend money on a confidential discussion that we are going to approve this without knowing exactly where it's gonna be.
So
How's that happen?
I can speak to that.
The structure of the BOT agreement is open book. It's guaranteed maximum price with an open book. If at any time the Parks Board or the commissioners through the Parks Board becomes uncomfortable with the situation, then you can pause the project and have those discussions. But until the, well, to be honest, the person that the developer is talking with about the property has been harassed throughout this process and has asked for confidentiality and asked for not to have discussions in public about what that site is. And that's being requested just like it would, or being honored just like it would be on any purchase of property that would be occurring or negotiated.
So they're in the current, there's nothing definite on purchasing this property. We're still in the process of looking to secure.
If that would not happen for some reason or another, then the board and the commissioners have the ability to reallocate the funds within that project or to adjust the guaranteed maximum price overall. That's the benefit of the BOT structure and the benefit of the guaranteed maximum pricing and open book contract.
Just who will approve the ultimate location if the proposed location of these?
Well, I would assume that it would be the park board and they would approve it. Is that fair?
But last week, when I went to the park board meeting, they said they had no location ready yet, or conversing with anybody to buy that property.
We said that
Wherever
county
it is.
officials have not had any discussions about purchasing property, which is 100% true.
Okay.
When you do the DOT, then that firm will be the one that secures the property.
Maybe I just don't understand.
Yeah, it's
You
kind of
think
a
it
different.
clear it up for me.
Well, Jess could probably explain that better than me, but it's a different way of doing things that we've never done DOT. At least the answer for any other outside units.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what we just said. The county officials have no discussions about purchasing property with any private owner. Developer, the agreement that we are discussing is with a developer, and that developer essentially handles all of that side of it, and then we pay the developer at the end to turn over the completed facilities, the completed parks in this case. That's how BOT agreements are structured.
So the developer would be looking for parcels, and the ones being in negotiation to purchase those parcels were parcels. And then they would also be the ones that complete the project, and then sell the project in essence back to the county.
And at some point during that process, after a purchase was made, then that would be a public.
Yes.
That would be public.
Or
Right
even
now,
after an
during
agreement is
negotiation.
in point. I don't know what that point is.
Well, they would not purchase that property without agreement from the.
I would assume that is the case, yes, 100%.
It will be brought into the jurisdiction of the Parks and Park. It's part of the power of a Parks and Recreation Board, they have the authority to acquire land for the purposes of all this. So they themselves would make that determination. It absolutely cannot be done other than in a public.
So those would be meetings Mr. Zollikar would know about in advance.
Yeah, they could, I don't believe that there would be a public hearing necessarily, but it would have to be a public meeting. And I don't see any.
Park Board meets on the first Thursday of every month at noon in this room. Unless it's a holiday, then it becomes a second Thursday. That schedule was published at the beginning of the year, and it's held still, with the exception of the day after we had the tornado come through Madison County, when we canceled that meeting. We do have a Parks and Recreation email account at parksdepartment@madisoncounty.in.gov. We have a mailing list that sends out information about meetings ahead of time. You can send questions to there and we will respond. I'm happy to communicate. We are working on updating the website and being able to provide better information. The information we have available right now is on the website under the ARPA section. Parks and Recreation Master Planning has been updated to include that information. And I think the Parks Board has done a phenomenal job of allowing public discussion at meetings and of really taking feedback from residents and adjusting their ideas and thoughts accordingly. So.
Can I make one more comment?
Sure.
I think I speak for, I want to go 90%, probably more like 99%, but I want to give a little opening. That 8th Street Road is not one either one of these two projects. I'm talking just about every homeowner on 8th Street Road from Randall Avenue to Perkinsville, and a lot of the people in Perkinsville, as I walk through the neighborhoods, to find out if they were on it or against, for it or don't want it. And the majority of the people do not want this project because it's going to bring people into the neighborhood that we pay a lot of money for these houses to be on the river. And I've got a creek in the front. And if you go to the back, and it's going to happen, I know it, because once you let them put tubes out there, they're going to connect. And when they connect them, that's going to go right back to the walking river to walk on the river, the Greenway, White River Greenway Project. We don't want it. I just want you to know that and have it on the record that we are not happy with this project.
But they're not talking about doing any trails, they're just talking about.
I do understand that.
So they've certainly had those conversations.
But they've never said they won't do it. They said we're gonna take it. In other words, it's always open for discussion if you take it.
Well, even if you don't take it, then it's gone, you bring it back and talk about it.
Well, that's right.
So, yes, everything's on its own.
The common sense tells me, if you let these happen, you're gonna connect them. Why would you not? You done spent $4 million. That's all I have to say.
You have questions for Jess? We have a motion and a second. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Was that for just the BOT agreement or was that for also task order 2?
That was just on
Okay. So then task order 2 at Burgess and Knightville is for $270,000. That is for the design work associated with the project.
This is already approved by the park, correct? Yes.
That is correct.
This is the design work for one existing location, and right now our location.
The scope of work in this is exactly what I told you in the BOT agreement as well. It's for the base level design.
You got a question? Make a motion to adopt task order number 2. Second, any discussion?
I do have a question, not necessarily to this task, but I'm concerned about some of the same things that Mr. Zollikar's concerned about, and that's the connection of those parks with the trailway that the residents don't want. What process would have to happen if that ever became subject matter and it was proposed that a trailway would be put in? What safeguards does a homeowner living on 8th Street have to come and speak their piece?
I think the biggest safeguard is the property aspect of it. The board has very emphatically said multiple times, and you have also very emphatically stated that eminent domain is not on the table for this. And so if you're not willing to sell property, that very much restricts the county's ability to take property if they're not willing to pursue eminent domain. And I don't think, we've all said from the start, eminent domain is not something that we have an appetite for in this situation. I will say that we have had a number of homeowners actually reach out to us that do support it, and they're just not comfortable stating it in the public forum because of the repercussions that they feel they will receive. We have had homeowners come to various board members since they decided to move forward with the anchor parks and offer to sell property. People who spoke up at meetings as showing visibly not supporting it. So I think that it is important to keep in mind that yes, there's a lot of discussion about it, but we only hear one side of things in the public forum. The other part of it is that without property, a project, any infrastructure project can't move forward. And so if the residents aren't willing to sell the property and the county's not willing to take eminent domain, then a project can't move forward. I mean, it's got to go through that process, right? Just like any other capital project would have to. There's got to be property purchase, there's got to be solicitations for professional services, public bidding, appropriations of funds, just like any other project. Whether it's headed up by the commissioners or the park board, it's the same type of processes.
I know during this process, things that I've heard are, and we don't write statute, but that the park board has too much authority, and that's a concern of citizens, and whether or not they make a statement that they, I'm not saying for or against, so please everybody take it that way, but even though they may say we won't go the eminent domain route, the ability for a parks board to do that is there. Is that correct?
That's correct. It's one of their powers under state.
And that's the fear that I'm hearing that people have. I just want to make sure that's
And like Jeff said, that is a power from state law, and the way that the commissioners have oversight on that is through your appointments onto the board.
And
I mean,
and also through the county. So
absolutely, and
if there's no will from commissioners and council to take property and replace board members, if there is an initiative, that should take care of itself.
debt to build the trail system would have to come before the commissioners and the council.
Correct. Nobody's going to issue debt without the body signing,
Particularly the council.
task order 2 is still under consideration for the White River Greenway.
You have questions? I have a motion, second. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you. One other final item. This is on behalf of the Drainage Board. This is for the Carter Yeating project, our project that funding was approved for. This task order number 2 is for the final design and bidding phases of the proposed work that the Drainage Board and the Surveyor's Office and the Engineering Office are working with Banning Engineering on. And it is for, I just not pulling this up before we started here. the second to last page of this agreement that we're asking your consideration for ratification. It says land surveying for $25,000, settlement monitoring for $7,000, construction plan developing for $35,000, bidding for $10,000, and then contract potholing and traffic control during potholing for not to exceed amounts of $8,000 and $3,500 respectively. So we're asking for approval of, ratification of task order 2 for those items that will bring the Carter Eating ARPA project towards the bidding and through bidding.
And the request for when these ARPA funds were from the Greenway Board for the Mounds Greenway Project, and this aspect of the Greenway Board as far as the scope of the project. And this particular task force as well.
Yes.
Make a motion to approve task order 2 Carter Eating drain improvements, Madison County.
Second, any other discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Yes.
Thank you.
Len?
Ready? Okay, this is petition number 2025Z004. It went before the Madison County Planning Commission last week for a rezone from R2 to Ag at 1581 Mockingbird Lane. The petitioner is John and Beverly Atkins. They are here today. This project did receive a unanimous favorable recommendation from the Planning Commission. The area generally off of Mockingbird Lane on the south and east side of Anderson, in Fall Creek Township. Basically, the applicants have owned the property since the mid-2010s. I'm not sure I can call that lots or something. But, and their plan at that time was to build a house and start an agricultural business. They went into the mission field for a few years and have come back. Prices are up, so they are looking to start their agricultural business, but hold off on building a house until they can financially get to where they want to be. But to do the agricultural business, they need to be rezoned to agriculture that allows them to put up a building so that they can work on the property. They've done some cleanup on the existing property, the staff recommendation is approval of this. No harm to anybody, and it has a beneficial effect on the neighborhood.
Larry, I just got one question. All three commissioners are planning commission. Listen to that being.
You guys are behind that.
Yeah. And so you had a unanimous recommendation for this rezone, but it seems to me that we've had this property in front of us one other time. I can't remember whether it was here, maybe drained for.
I don't know. There's no floodplain issues on it, so, if they did any major excavation over a quarter of an acre, they put a pond or something, they would have to go to the Marine Corps. But for what they're proposing to do at this time, I don't see any. But I don't know of any. There's a similar property near here, and I can't remember exactly where it is, but it may have come in from. And there's another, it's a big parcel that's kind of got stuck in R2 neighborhood type of thing.
Sounds good. Nikki, we have a witness.
9.
Do the petitioners have anything they want to say since you're both here? We were both at your planning commission meeting, so.
John Atkins. Quick comment, you said about the property coming once before. It did actually do that. There was a ditch running through the property, and there was the, I don't know what you call it, the width on each side of the ditch. And so we petitioned to get that lowered on one side so we could intersect. So that was it.
public hearing for ordinance number 9, we settled the planning commission meeting last Tuesday. It stated it was passed with a unanimous recommendation of the Board of Commissioners for the rezone. I would make a motion based on that recommendation to pass by title only ordinance number 2025-BC-0-9, an ordinance amending the official zoning map. Second. Any other discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Sheriff's Department.
Morning. Doug Bell, Madison Sheriff's Department. Here this morning to ask permission to purchase a vehicle. Several months ago this year, one of our patrol cars was involved in an accident. The other driver caused the crash. We settled with her insurance. However, the settlement amount obviously is not going to replace one of our police cars. So we're John Jones dealership down in southern Indiana still has brand new 2023 Dodge Charger V6 all-wheel drive Chargers in stock. There's fewer and fewer of those because that was the last year they made those cars. The only other option we would have is we would have to switch to Ford Explorer, which is about $10,000 more. So just requesting permission to purchase one of these 2023 V6 all-wheel drive Chargers. I believe they sent a quote was $36,433.50. We still have about $33,000 left in our 440 line. We are going to spend about $30,000 of that to help offset the cost of this, and then the remaining amount we will pay out of some of our discretionary funds to come up the remaining amount.
Do you know what funds you're going to use?
Don't know yet. We have some other, like I said, our accident fund or other things that are used for patrol purposes. If not, we also do have our commissary fund, but we'll have to review that and see which one we want to draw from. We're not using the full. We have about $33,000 left in our 440 line, but we need to set some of that back because obviously we'll have to install equipment and labor to do that. So that's normally paid out of our 440 line. So as well as for the equipment for the vehicles, we need to set some back to be able to pay for that once we get it. This is just the purpose of the vehicle.
Was the other vehicle better?
I don't know if it was or not.
What was the amount of insurance on
From their insurance company, they gave us a settlement amount of $19,000. And we were only budgeted this year for $100,000 to buy new cars anyway. So we had already purchased 2 vehicles, and obviously we weren't expecting to have one of the vehicles correctly totaled out.
Did the $19,000 go back in your 440 account, or did it go back in?
It went into our 440 account.
Council reappropriated for the $19,000?
I believe if it was a settlement amount from insurance, it explained to me that that goes direct back into our 440 line.
Did have Sierra make much time to approve this amount, applicable fees, $250 dock fee and $37.50.
Yeah, and we'll take care of as far as covered.
Any other questions with that? Entertain motion. Second discussion. Those in favor say aye. Aye.
Thank you.
Nothing else on the agenda, anything to be brought forward? Oh,
That amount, as I was looking to click the link to find out what the amount for the county, yesterday, the bankruptcy court changed the form that you were asked to be signed, so there's no action you can take today. We have until the end of September to sign it, so you will likely have the corrected form and the amount on your agenda for September 2nd.
Okay, so we got to read it.
Yes.
Anything else? Anything on motion to adjourn?
Second.
Those in favor